I'm super excited today. Does your childhood affect your adult life? A lot of people do not have that belief, and I didn't used to. However, today I have a much deeper understanding of this. And I have a very special dad who agreed to come on and share with us part of his journey, part of, you know, how it's been challenging and how some of these challenges may reoccur in our adult life. So let's welcome Mark Engstar. Sorry, Mark. And it's 5 a.m. in New Zealand. So thank you so much for hopping on with us this morning.
It's great to be here, Christine. Thank you.
Excellent. So when you shared information with me, you have quite a journey, and maybe you could just share a little bit, start for a few minutes and share about your early childhood, how it was at home and what happened that made it quite challenging, right?
Uh, yeah, I'm the oldest of four children to
Mhm.
my parents. I grew up, had a pretty good, small town, more or less, upbringing, 10,000 people.
Mhm.
So, yeah, my upbringing was okay. My father was had his own business, and my mother did the best she could as well.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, more time was sort of spent too with the other younger children, and that is, I got to be able to go and do a lot more. I think in my era as well, you kids were meant to stay away all day, and
Yep.
right, find your own
Get out of the
entertainment.
way, go outside and play.
Yeah, and so I enjoyed that, and that's what I did too. So, and I was right into my sports and adventures and things like that as a young boy.
Yeah. And something happened when you were 14, right?
Yeah, well, my father used my father was always a partier and used to chase the woman and stuff like that too. So
Mm.
from even before that, he used to take me out with him and then make me lie to my mother and that about where we'd been and things like this.
Mm.
Even even earlier, um, from when I was probably 10, 11, and that my father would bring people home from the pub and wake me up and would play pool as partners against a couple other guys and for money. And so we were taking money off people and that. So I was earning a lot of money for a school kid actually back in those days. And we're playing cards. My father taught me to play cards, so I was his card partner and that. And so
Hmm.
I learned to play cards, play pool, things like that. And but on my 13th birthday, it was actually too. We were staying down the road at some friend's place, and that with my mother and his kids, and so it was my birthday. So I was going away onto school camp and stuff like that. So we walked back to the house early that morning and found my father in bed with a lady, and so that was the end of the relationship with my parents, pretty much. And my mother said to us, was willing to take the kids back. I take my father back. She asked us kids what we thought, and I decided that we weren't going to take him back. And um,
That's a
so,
big decision for, 13, 14-year-old child to make, isn't it?
yeah, I think so. So I influenced the rest of the kids
Yeah.
and my mother, and we went out alone. And it was really hard to be a solo mum in those days as well. There wasn't much help from the government or anything. So
Yeah.
I realised pretty quickly that my mother couldn't even afford to feed me there as well. So I ended
Mm,
up leaving home and
mm.
and leaving school just to turn 14, and I went to work and that as well. Um, just so that my mother could feed the other kids. Really, my mother always thought I just wanted to leave, and that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I never told her that I left so that she could feed the other kids. Um,
Oh, you never told her. You had so many responsibilities, right? You grew up very young with what your dad was asking you to do.
yeah, and he used to be really hard on me, right? He used to train me, and that from when I was very young. He'd make me arm wrestle him uh, over a drawing pin or a lit candle, and he'd hold me above it, and then make me straight away for ages, and then put me on it, and I'd have to do press ups and sit ups, and I was super fit. I could run all day, and
Yeah, for sure.
so yeah, he was really hard on me. He used to call me a girl and stuff like this. I was too soft, but he made me, like, in his way. He was making me really strong and tough, uh, and yeah, so I was a super, really good at all sorts of sports and things like that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it was just his way of making me a man sooner.
Yeah. How did you feel about that when you were a kid?
I used to worship him, and
Yeah.
I guess as kids do their parents.
Yeah.
So I always used to think he was a cool dad, one of the coolest dads in the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of what how he did, how he partied, and just how he sort of was. And um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you learn as you get older, right? And then later in life too, as he used to start boasting about how hard he made it for his ex-wife and stuff like that, and he's doing it in front of myself and things like that, and I'm thinking, what an asshole. And that how you weren't making your ex-wife suffer, you were making your kids suffer. And
And he couldn't see that, could he?
no, because he's always about himself.
Yeah.
He was first. Like,
Mhm.
I don't get it, but a lot of people are able to put themselves first and only think about themselves, and
Yeah.
their pleasures always come first. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I never get that.
Yeah,
On a
unfortunately, it's a reality for like at least 15% of the population that, you know, me, myself, and I come first. And unfortunately, you had to go through that. And as you said, you looked up to him and you wanted him to love you. So you were doing so many things for him to be pleased by you. But at 14, you started waking up and you said to your mom, that's it. Nope, I don't want him back. I need to, we need, because you knew all the lies and she didn't know all the lies, right?
Yeah, and like, he was never hardly home either, But when he'd come
Yeah.
home, he was drunk, and then he'd want to show me how you hurt people and things like that, So
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's so he used to want to teach me all these moves and things like this, and do them on me. But yeah, so I just it got to the point where I was better to not be around him, and I always remembered as well, just whatever he taught me, and it's like what you were saying, Christine. I used to think that I didn't. I'm actually doing a masterclass course this week at the moment too, about inner child healing and your traumas
Mm.
and that as a child and stuff like that too. I'm
Yeah.
currently doing it and doing it again. Just I always thought I've had a happy childhood. I didn't have problems and all that, more or less, as well. But you think back about certain things, and it totally has shaped me as a father. It it made myself and most of my friends all came from single parent families, and that
Mm.
as well. So I always decided I was not going to get married. I've still not been married,
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it really affects us. What happens, those things, we make some decisions and they really affect us as we grow up. And we can see that through your and I just want to pause because you said, I didn't know. I thought I had an early childhood. Ditto. You know, we often think that until we really stop and we look at, okay, what was he doing? You're making me lie, making me, So basically, even though your mom was married, she was a single mom because he wasn't around. He was, playing, running after the ladies and
yeah,
out late and partying and I'm sure she wasn't there for the parties, was she?
no, not very often. And
Yeah, not very often because she was
she
taking
wasn't.
care of you guys. Yeah. And there's something else that last week Michael talked about, and he was talking about how this abuse, right? And you mentioned something that brings me back to that topic because um, it's sort of a cycle, his buddies, what they say, and how that comes back, and they're supporting his abuse because they know he's sleeping around with, you know, and nobody's saying to him, hey, you know, this is not okay. You can't do this to your wife. Nobody is speaking up to say, this doesn't work. And what if, I'm just going to put a what if his buddies had said something to him, you know, would it have continued? Would it have helped him take the right road? Maybe not because it was all about him, but that's a big role that we have as whether we're dads or moms in our communities to stand up for what is right and not let the abuse continue, right?
Yeah, that was the early 70s, and that too, whereas I
Yeah.
think society was a little bit more about sharing and stuff like that too, and when they partied and that as
Yeah.
well.
I think
So,
it's still there today, though. In a lot of communities, I still feel it's very present. There are more, let's say, enlightened people who will say, hey, no, this doesn't work. But there's a lot of that peer pressure happening, right? Where, you're kind of telling your buddies, hey, go, this is good. There's nothing wrong with this. And sometimes it's done quite unconsciously as well.
well, you're drawn together, your likes and stuff like that, aren't you? So you're only going to hang out with people that enjoy the same thing, pretty much.
Exactly. And that's a huge thing. How do you get out of a group that, is enjoying that?
Well,
Okay. So I'm going to pause you because we are already moving forward here. And I wanted to ask you, yeah, if you, what would you say to your younger self? Like if you look, I don't know, 10 years from now and you look at you now, what would you say to yourself as a dad?
a lot of it is I've grown up not liking myself a lot, so I'm just learning to love myself and not be so hard on myself as well. So that's something I'm teaching my subconscious currently.
Yeah, and
So
it's beautiful because when we start understanding it, and I think, and this is where your dad's, I'm going to call it dad's energy way of being, has affected you a lot because he was hard on you because he wanted to make you a tough guy, right? A tough man. That was his goal. However, you unconsciously learned to be very tough on yourself. Would you not agree to that?
I'm extremely hard on myself. Extremely, yeah.
Yeah.
I always had to do things harder than anyone else to
Yeah.
be better than anyone else. To um, yeah, I swing from one end to the other end of extremes. I don't sort of operate in the middle ground, and
Yeah.
I've always been very hard on myself.
Yeah.
So,
And it's having that compassion, self-compassion, and saying it's okay. And that's kind of why I created the ripple effect of love for dads and families, because I was also very hard on myself, because my dad expected perfection from himself and from ourselves, and then I just took that on without realizing that I was a perfectionist, and that it was making me sick, right? Because I didn't have the bandwidth to hold it all in, all that pressure. And we have different ways of coping, different mechanisms. How did you cope with all that pressure?
um, probably, I'm not sure. Probably drugs and alcohol as well, and
Mm-hmm.
had injuries and all that too from young, car accidents, motorbike accidents. I sort of
Yeah.
I was not. I had my daughter taken off me. I used to be a solo dad as well for a little while, but and sort of see her mother on the side, and until I told her mother I didn't want to be seeing her anymore, and she had my daughter taken back off me. Um,
Mm.
and in New Zealand, probably like most countries, the man has the least rights. And I fought. I didn't think I'd see my daughter again, so I went through the courts fighting for her access as much as possible, and for her to know that I loved her and fought for her. And so, yeah, I had the system working against me. It actually really came. You couldn't take anything more away from me. That she
Yeah.
gave me purpose in life. Right, when the moment I knew that I was going to have a daughter, I changed the way I lived for the moment and
Mhm.
decided I had a future and I needed to make a future for my daughter. So I totally changed. Right, I gave up cigarettes on the spot. I was a heavy cigarette smoker. I because I wanted to be around for my daughter for the future. I started thinking about how do I start selling things and making money and get a house and all that sort of stuff. So um, it made me start achieving pretty quickly too. So you know, I, I come from just enjoying partying and living a biker's lifestyle and stuff like that, and, to becoming a property developer and making a home, a second home for my daughter, and it was a home and that for a while too. You know, I took my daughter on for a while, and then it was I had my daughter taken from me, and I didn't get to see her for a while, and I brought another house for my daughter's mother right next to the school, so my daughter could instead of taking an hour to get to school each day from a 5-year old, once she started school, she just walked
Mhm.
next door, and it was to help her mother out as well. Right, I didn't like the government. I don't like the government anyway, and I
Yeah.
don't want them telling me what to do about my own child and that as well. So I had my own arrangements with her mother to pay her outside the system, and I decided from that moment when they took my daughter off me to stop paying taxes and just to step outside of the system. And I
Mhm.
did that the whole time my daughter went to school. Um, I lived off my rental income from my rooms I rented out from my houses, and just kept buying more houses and be- become a learned how to use my capital, my equity to keep buying more properties and made some shrewd investments at the time.
I love how you really did not want to make your child go through what your dad made you go through. So you made sure that, her mom had a home, and I think that's really beautiful. And the other thing that I really love that you talked about was how you made sure that even though you didn't have custody, you made sure she knew you were fighting for her, right?
For sure. And I fought for the mother, and I was going to pay for the petrol, and I had no license. I was a disqualified driver since the age of 15, um, and I had to
Oh,
do 22 years 22 years stacked on top of each other before I was allowed to sort of sit my license back. So it totally changed. I couldn't
Wow.
operate. I couldn't work. I kept getting arrested for trying to go and be a paving contractor at the time, and that worked for myself. So I was getting in trouble for driving and trying to make a living as well.
Yeah.
So I had to risk going to jail and things like that at times to go and see my daughter, because the mother was court ordered to bring her to me every 2 weeks, and she never ever did. And so I would
Mm.
have to go and risk my freedom to let my daughter
Yeah.
know that I cared about her, and that. And then sometimes the mother would have the police waiting for me after I left, and that as well, to get
Yeah.
at me. And because I'd tell her off because she's spending her money on the wrong stuff, and you know, I, so I was going there and delivering boxes of fruit and vegetables that I had. One of my friends had a big fruit shop and stuff like that, so I made sure he had boxes of fruit and vegetables for me every week to deliver, and that as well. Um,
And I love sending like fruits and vegetables, like food, instead of money. At least you know it's spent on the right stuff, right? That's a really smart move on your part there, Mark.
yeah. Well, I used to give money and that as well, and
Hmm.
it only encouraged her to spend it on the wrong things more
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well, and
and
that's
it
why.
cuts, sorry, and it cuts the argument, right, about where you're spending it. You want her to spend it on quality food, and she didn't want to, so it sort of cut that argument where you're sending the food to them.
Yeah, well, some people's habits are stronger um,
Yes.
than who they should be caring for,
Totally.
and that.
Totally. And I'm just going to add, and we need to become smarter than their habits, because it's not because we're working on ourselves to be a better person that they are. So finding those solutions that are win-win for you and your daughter, right? Are really amazing, and we need to be creative, and that was a very creative way of adding that in. Keep going. Sorry I interrupted you. We only have like 8 minutes left.
Yeah, no, that's something that my daughter says to me now. She goes, "Dad, Mum used to just run you down constantly to us, and you never ever ran her down to us."
Mhm.
And that's something I learned from my parents as well with their breakup, and to both of my parents used to talk about the other to us kids, right, and go
Yeah.
on it. And I decided I wasn't going to be that person growing up as well,
Yeah,
too. So
beautiful, because it really hurts the child, and I learned it the hard way as well. But I had my son's room was up here and the stairs were at the other end, so I would go downstairs at the other end of the stairs so he wouldn't hear. But unfortunately, he was right on top and he could hear, and I would call a friend to rant just to get rid of the stress that I was going through. But unfortunately, and he never said, "Mom, I can hear you," you know. So unfortunately, he really got the gist of it, even though it wasn't my intention to put his father down in front of me, but it in front of him, but it is what he could overhear, and that's just another. And I share this so that people who are calling their friends, like dads who are having a hard time and they're calling their friends while their kids are down or in their bedrooms, be careful. Can they hear you from their bedroom as well, even if you're being super careful not to put the mom down or your partner down? Because that, I think that's one of the most challenging things for the children, is when we put them in a situation of choosing, you know, choosing, oh, I'm better than you are, or I'm better than he is. And that psychologically for children is very, very, very challenging. And I'm glad that and and your daughter now can say, yeah, I love that you weren't putting mom down. That was really cool. So we do get the kudos in the end. If we are patient enough, our children will mature and grow up and be able to say this.
yeah, it's it's hard, right? As a child, you know what you don't like when you're growing up, and if you care about your kids and stuff like that, you sort of swear to yourself that you're not going to let your kids go through that, and you do your best to not let them go through what you didn't like as a child, I think, and that as well, which is a very strong thing that you bring forward from being a child that a lot of people probably don't realize as well, too, you know. So that's something I think that's deep that you do bring forward as a child.
Yeah, and some people have the desire to not bring it forward, and somehow they create it, even though that wasn't what they really wanted. There are aspects that we're able to, like, anyway, in my case, there were aspects that I was able not to co-create, but there were things that I wasn't able to see because to survive, the brain will erase information, right? It just like erases it because, oh, I had a great childhood. My parents were great. And then as you start looking at the things that were really asked of you that really happened, and I think our amygdala, that part of the brain, just erases the information so that we can survive and be happy. But in the end, there was part of it when it comes out, it's really challenging, and we need a lot of self-compassion to make it through, right? And to adjust and get the support that we need to move forward.
Yeah, like counselling and stuff like that wasn't around in our day, and that's something that's great now. And there's some
Yes.
great counsellors and technology and all that, and to be able to go and learn things, and that's why the Strangers Community is my non-profit, and I've set it up for people to help people with experiences, and um, we're starting to put things on our own YouTube channel and all that too around that, so people can learn from others' experiences and not have to suffer as much. Or so yeah, that's one of my passions as well now, to give back to society. It's through my non-profit as well, to help others and to lift their vibration and learning. In many ways, I care about their well-being. So.
And can you tell us more about this strangers community? What does it look like? What is it? I don't know. What's your mission?
For to help people to realize why they're born. I believe a lot of people are always, what's your purpose here on life? And I've gone through suicidal thoughts for many years, homelessness, addictions. So I care about all those things as well that a lot of people go through. I also want to help people become entrepreneurs, because I believe everyone should be at least a part-time entrepreneur to start changing your 9 to 5 job to give you something to take control of. So what I do is I teach people how to make generational income. The Strangers Community, I have our own generational admin support team. We haven't been going that long, but this is something that I've set up because we're going to partner with people and help them to earn generational income based around wellness products, also making online courses and ebooks and things like that. So we can help you to create all those things and have them sold for you and put into multiple languages, sold in 200 countries. And the other one is my wealth making club. These are all like clubs, or my educational academy that I've set up under the Strangers Community. And we're just about to sort of really open it up and start growing membership and things like this, because I've been paying for everything out of my own pocket, and it's not going to run on if I happen to die. And my vision is for it to run on. It's my legacy that I want to leave. So I teach and help other charities that come to me to become self-reliant as well. And so we have our own e-commerce store where we can help people sell their own products and services, as well as part of being an entrepreneur. So we can help you with the staff. And so I'm bringing a lot of charities in underneath my wing. I was working with a lot of orphanages and schools and that, mostly out of Africa, but we're global. I'm globally focused. And my goal is to help as many people and other non-profits so they can help their communities. But we're working with everyone, and I can work with people that have no money as well. My charity does. I've set up companies now, to social impact companies that were only set up to support the strangers community as well, as another way for me to roll my vision out there, to create as many caring entrepreneurs in the world as we can. It's to give back to their communities, to help them teach right, to give them the knowledge, and I believe in lifting people's vibration and lift the vibration of the planet and things like this. So we're
Yeah.
creating communities and things like that where I'm growing two different communities. One for the business entrepreneurs who just want to make money, and that will always be controlled by the strangers group as well. So in that community, we're growing for people who uh, care about others, care about the community, care about themselves, and self growth and learning and all that as well. So that's been my vision, is to just simplify life. Decide there's two sets of people, and let's help the people that want a better planet, better society.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome, and I'm really happy for your daughter. I love kids, so I'm really happy for your daughter that you were able to persevere and move forward and find ways to spend more time with her. And I'm assuming now you have a lot more time, quality time with your daughter.
I like to try to. I don't. It's my goal to, right. And I got a. She's got three boys, 16, 14, and 8. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, two of them are having birthdays. One next week and one starting next month. So yeah, so she's got her hands full. She's a single mum as well. So I think a lot of what she went through has um, gone
Mark.
into her relationships as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think she chose a couple of the wrong guys. Um, but um,
And that's a generational thing, right? Choosing the wrong guy. I can tell you that I can see that happening. My daughter, because I have more self-awareness, and when she talks to me about I can ask when she talks to me about gentlemen, I can ask her more enlightened questions, right? Higher vibrational questions, instead of putting her down or just saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I always look for the things that I'm most proud of her in choosing, and how does that make you feel? And how does that make you feel?" Because when you connect to your feelings, you can um not I don't have the right word. You can smell them out, if you will, these people that are not good for you. But we need to be in touch with how we feel. And sometimes some of these people come into our lives so that we can heal our past traumas that we've had, unfortunately. Last minute, what would you like to add, Mark? Anything?
well, I just realised too. Both of my daughter's ex-men came from split families as well, and
Yeah.
that too. Which so look for a partner that's had parents that are stuck together and are still loving each other, and that. And I think that you go a long way with a good balanced partner. So yeah,
Yes, and looking at the parents of the
yeah,
partner is an excellent way to see what that child or that partner might look like. I definitely think that's very important as well. And then there's these people that have terrible parents, and they are able to pull themselves out because they ended up being the parents of those parents. So they've been parenting since they were 8, 9 years old, right? So they have that ability to move forward. Well, thank you, Mark. It was so nice to meet you. And I just like to say, if anyone listening has ever felt like their childhood is still affecting their life today, I want you to know that you're not alone. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is in the chat. and so that you get the notifications for when the next episode is. So take great care of you, dads. And even if you've been through a really rough time, hang in there. There are solutions. And please get help. It's okay to get help. I can help you, or another counselor can help you. Thank you so much, Mark, for your time and your energy and your effort today. Keep going. Take great care of yourself.
You're doing
And
a great work, Christine. Thank you.
you're welcome.